Hello and welcome to another episode of Parliamentary Conversations in the Commonwealth, a podcast from the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, better known as the CPA. The CPA promotes knowledge of the constitutional, legislative, economic, social, and cultural aspects of parliamentary democracy, and supports parliamentarians from across the Commonwealth in strengthening their democracies, promoting the rule of law, and safeguarding human rights. I'm here today with the Honourable Malik Muhammad Ahmad Khan, the Speaker of the Punjab Assembly. His political career includes multiple terms as a member of the Provincial Assembly, having first been elected in 2002. He has previously served as a Parliamentary Secretary for Parliamentary Affairs and as the Special Assistant to the Chief Minister on Information and Culture. He has served in the Federal Cabinet as a Special Assistant to the Prime Minister in Defence Affairs and also as the Law Minister of Punjab. He was elected Speaker in February 2024. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for joining me. This podcast is being recorded in Lahore ahead of the joint Asia South-East Asia Regional Conference. This is the first CPA Asia Regional Conference in 5 years and the first ever joint CPA Asia South-East Asia Regional Conference. Could you speak a bit just about how significant this conference is?
Thank you very much. Based upon our own experience, it was felt as a need of the day that revival of the activities was most important and most significant. So the thing which was suspended almost for good 5 years, we wanted it to revive it. We just brought all our best efforts to organize this conference so we could arrange the meetings and seminars and study groups and plenary sessions, and we could bring all that valuable contribution into it. And to revive the activity where it was suspended, it should start again, is the most significant part of this.
The conference will see over 100 attendees, including multiple speakers of parliaments from across the region. Could you outline some of the steps, particularly those taken for your role as Speaker, that go into planning a conference this large?
No, this is quite interesting. I actually spoke to Mr. Stephen Twigg, the Secretary General of the CPA. That is almost like 4 or 5 months back. Then I went to London. I sent my Secretary General to him. And then we came to a conclusion that this big effort, somebody has to do it. And being an attendee of different conferences of CPA and getting that valuable insight and how those legislative frameworks are helping the societies and the countries to transform, we thought it extremely important that this regional conference should be held, and we then put our very serious effort towards it. Then again, we met with the Secretary General and with the members of the Executive Committee in Sydney in the conference which was held 2 months back. And then we made the final arrangements of those, and then it was decided that it won't be just the South Asia region. It would be Far East also, that there will be 2 regions coming together. So it is a rare opportunity. It has never been like this, that 2 regions came in a meeting together. So it was all about logistics, and it was all about framing those core issues which are equally important to all of these participating countries. So we are talking of women empowerment, we are talking of the role of the youth, we are talking of the marginalized communities of like minorities, we are talking of best legislative practices, we are talking of more empowerment of people. Bringing it in short, it is putting everything together which contributes more towards this project of democratization, and our resolve that the CPA, this association, is all about democracy. It's all about more empowerment of people. It's all about the best practices. It's all about the dividends going to the people largely of the concerned countries. So it took a bit, but it's all been done, and here we are.
Looking forward to it. You mentioned democratization and a few of the more inclusive activities of the CPA as well. The theme of the conference is Parliamentary Strategies for Inclusive Growth and Sustainable Futures in Asia and Southeast Asia. And I'm wondering if you could outline what you believe are some of the key elements of this kind of growth.
Starting with the key word is decentralization. It's more empowerment of people at the basic units, giving more political power, giving more financial power, devolving it to the people, those who are going to decide for themselves. Now, in this framework in which we are large province. I house more than 120 million people just in this province. So it is larger than so many countries in the world. To my exact knowledge, it is, I believe, the 18th largest population in any country which this province holds. Now, we have to admit that we have certain problems here. We have a poverty that is basically very large in numbers. We have a youth bulge, needs to be employed. We have women, exactly half the number of the population, or slightly a percentage more. So we have a very set of unique challenges. Yet we have a very progressive province. We have good governance model. We have a very developing economy. We have a few things which could be showcased as the glass is full. There are few problems in which we can say the glass is empty. Now, how to tackle these things is to learn from each other's best practices, best experiences. Now, there are countries in these regions, those who have done wonderfully excellent. They have just transformed their economies. So, putting the thing right, that how this thing walked, how these things the stock has been converted into the real walk of the life. So we are arranging certain plenary sessions here. We are bringing in together those experiences in which local governments and decentralization, in which youth and in which minorities and people with the disabilities all could be included into it. So, to my understanding, the sustainable models for all these people, those who have been considered very marginalized in the past, they are brought into the national progress and they have been given a sustainable model. This is the basic theme of the conference.
I think that was a great summary of some of the challenges, but also opportunities that are affecting Punjab right now. I wanted to ask how you think some of these challenges might overlap or differ from those generally affecting the Commonwealth, and what you believe some of the greatest challenges facing the Commonwealth generally are.
Now, we have a very diverse groups of people in this association. We have a few very strong economies, like United Kingdom itself, like Australia, like Canada. And we have very weak economies, such as few in Asia or few in Africa. Now, what happens is that this association brings them together. Now, we have a certain amount of similarities. We have the same set of laws. We have certain like federal systems, then the provinces, then we have the parliaments, just as the Westminster model is. And then we have a model of parliamentary oversight. Then we know that these parliaments give birth to the executive. Then this parliament checks that executive. So in the scheme of things, we share so many commonalities. Now, in practice, is this the view which is a democratic view? Is this the way of life? We have to learn from each other. Now, the challenges which we are facing today are to be countered by sharing our experience with each other. We're sharing their way of tackling one problem, by experience, how they overcame that issue. Now, once I go into the history, I find similar problems. Like 50 years back, with one country, they were there. 100 years back, they were there. So with more democratization, with more empowerment of people, with more transparency, with more inclusiveness, the sustainable models were given. And holistically, few of the countries in the Commonwealth overcame with those problems. So, putting in the right frame, this could be collectively done. I could talk of my problems and I could talk of my successes, I could talk of my weaknesses, but once I compare them with my other countries, those who have similar set of laws and constitutions and parliamentary framework or executive frameworks with there, so then I find solutions to it. So this Commonwealth Parliamentary Associations meeting, basically these challenges which we are facing, I couldn't just list one as the biggest challenge. There are multiple challenges, and mutual trust and sharing of visions can help it.
Okay. I think using frameworks is a useful kind of understanding of these challenges and differences as well. And one of the key questions of this conference, and something that's coming up more and more as a kind of common framework for legislation, is around emerging technologies like artificial intelligence or digital governments. How do you approach these as a speaker?
No, I was there in Sydney. I took an opportunity and spoke in front of the General House there. Now, my understanding of AI is slightly which has to be put into the right context. Now, is it AI versus human intelligence? Or are we just getting too acquainted with AI? And for example, I was very good in spellings as a student. I became a lawyer, I practiced law. I was very good with my drafting and with my spellings. But then I got used to my smartphone. And suddenly I just, one day I tried to bring some spelling out of my own vocabulary. I was lost with it. I had to go and find some help from the smartphone. Now this AI, if it is for the good, one thing would be that how many people will get jobless with this AI, or how good this technology will give to the economies, or how betterment in the living of the people could be given. Now, these are the questions which are to be seen and debated. As to the previous, when it came as a source of information, now I take it as my fundamental right as a human being that I'm entitled to the truthful news. Truthful being the truthfulness of the news. I should be given and disseminated those facts, those who are true facts. If somebody is not giving me the true facts, then I am being breached of my fundamental rights. So my previous experience with these digital apps, as far as the flow of information is concerned, that became a source for just destroying few people and few bodies. The more you can invest in, the more money you can put in, the more accesses you can get in, the more outreaches you can make, and you just put something there. So that experience bothers me to see how this AI is going to affect this part. Secondly, digitalization is proving to be good. Digitalization, I can't have my banking without it is very effective in banking. It is very effective in governance. It has just changed the manner, and it's the more digital I make it, the better governance is there. It is good in the universities. It is good for the students. It is good for me to make a search to find out the right thing. So there are pros and there are cons. So the cons I have just spoken of are based upon that experience which I have had in past, and it is not just me who is speaking of this. Almost like all those participants, those who were there in Sydney in the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, whosoever took the mic, he just said the same thing what I'm saying. But at the same time, in those social apps, I find my own existence in those apps. If I'm not there, I'm missing out politically. If I'm not there on Instagram, if I'm not there on these TikToks, or if I'm not there on these Facebooks, so my own political reach to the people, my own message, it does not go there properly. So I am dependent upon them. So what could be the way? Can we put in some regulations into that? If we bring in regulations, would it be a check on the freedom of expression? Will it deny that fundamental? No, we as humans are fixed into a situation in which we are not finding the right answers. But AI is transforming the society today. That is without a shadow of doubt. It is coming in so rapidly. It is bringing in so big changes. It is just changing the whole landscape. It is this thing is not stopping. So, what we have to do? Will the laws help? Here comes in the parliaments. Here comes in those shared experiences. This is the most important area on which we need to deliberate. And we have put one session for this on this subject alone, in which we are asking almost every country to come up and speak of their experience here. There's one case that is in the West. There's one case that is in our neighboring China and in Japan. There's one case which is in our Asian region and South Asian region. They're all different experiences. So we have to come with a collective solution that we should be beneficial of it, or we as humans create something which is not in our control on one day. That has to be seen.
Okay. You had mentioned earlier the unique position of the Punjab and Pakistan as a region itself that's larger than almost every other Commonwealth country individually. I just wanted to ask how you kind of approach your role as a speaker within the federal system, and what exactly the role of the Punjab Assembly within a federal Pakistan is.
Now, being the largest province, I have certain special positions and I have certain disadvantages both at the same time. I have certain responsibility to be equal on the basis of population. That I couldn't be. My numbers are far bigger. But then I have to add in certain other factors. I have to add in the lesser development of the other provinces. I have to stop my share. I have to look into their larger areas, underdeveloped areas. So as far as my role of allocation of resources is concerned, that I have to take care of others along with me. Vis-a-vis to my relation with Federation, that's again is very important, and I have a certain role in this assembly. As you know, that we have a trichotomy of powers arrangement here. There's one branch is judiciary, one branch is legislative, one branch is executive. And quite interestingly, it's a unique model. So many other Commonwealth countries do have it, that we give birth, there are no directly elected prime ministers here. The prime minister is elected from the House. Similarly, the chief minister of the province is elected from the House. So this assembly is a birthplace for the government. They give birth to the chief minister, they give to the cabinet, so they give birth to the government. And then they are empowered with questioning them, both in federation and both in province. So we have similar set of rules as the federation has it. And previously we used to have a concurrent list in which I can pass laws, federation can pass laws, but now there's federal list and provincial list and confirmation, barring few 2 or 3 subjects in which we can legislate collectively. So it's a relation of federation and province given in the constitution, written in the right manner, in which functions I have to perform and which functions the federation has to perform. So there are 2 different governments. There's a provincial chapter is quite autonomous. We have a certain amount of autonomy. We have our own infrastructure for which developments are made. We have our own hierarchy of the government. And there's no direct answerability, but we do share certain common institutions like Common Council for Common Interest and so many others. So Prime Minister is at the top as the Federation's Prime Minister. And then Chief Minister here is at the top as the province Chief Minister, his executive. A legislative branch is headed by the Speaker, along with this all hierarchy, and there's the judiciary. So it's all comprehensive system, and all divisions of the powers and functions are made in the Constitution in accordance to which we work.
Right. And then within this system, how do you view your own role as Speaker?
Now, this is a bit crucial question. Now, obviously, I belong to a political party. I get my nomination from that political party. But the minute I'm sworn in as a Speaker, I have to maintain a certain amount of neutrality to be the custodian of the rights of even those who are to my political opposition. So once I have taken oath as a Speaker, my role as a political activist minimizes and a custodian of House starts. So this is where the trick is. So if I get neutral, if I make it possible that I give the majority, the government party, their way, and I give the opposition, the minority, to have this say. So this is the key role for me.
My final question then, do you have any particular political mentors or examples that you would look to as best practice in a Speaker?
Now, we have few very huge personalities, those who have served as speakers in this assembly. So this assembly has a very rich history. So I'll just confine myself to the roles of the speakers, as your question is, that those who have been working as my predecessors, those who have worked here. We have had Khalifa Shujauddin here. He was a towering personality, author of so many books, a very literate man, an academician. He was with the university, and he was a man of letters, an excellent orator. Then we had Mr. Hanif Rame here. Then we had Mr. Rana Muhammad Iqbal. They all had their own role to play here. Then we had Mr. Parvez Ilahi. He was again a political person. Then we had Mr. Afzal Sai. They all had a very good role. They played good role here. But to me, to find a speaker, I have to rush back to UK. And there was a speaker whom I liked very much. I saw him riding on a bicycle. I saw him having those proceedings. I saw him just doing exactly what the book calls for. So if I have to find somebody whom I see and find someone in whose shoes you can stand and stand very proudly, there was this previous UK House of Commons Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I look forward to the conference this week as well.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being here.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Parliamentary Conversations in the Commonwealth. If you liked what you heard, then don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favourite podcasting platform to stay up to date with our latest episodes. To find out more about the work of the CPA, please visit our website at www.cpahq.org or follow the links in the podcast description.